The school shooting at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School is raising new questions about how to best protect children in schools. Earlier this week, Education Secretary Betsy DeVos was asked by MSNBC's Hugh Hewitt what she thinks about arming teachers with guns if those staff members are well trained. Listen.
I think this is an important issue for all states to grapple with and to tackle. They clearly have the opportunity and the option to do that, and there are differences in how states approach this. I think this needs to be part of the broader, more robust conversation about how can we avoid these things in the future.
One school district in Texas has been arming staff members for about 4 years now with signs like these posted at all of their schools. The idea came after the Sandy Hook shooting. Joining me now, Paul Kearney. He is the police chief of the Argyle Independent School District in Texas. Chief, thank you for being with us today.
Aaron, I appreciate the chance to be here with you. You
have armed some of your teachers and some of your staff members as well. Why is this a good option for your school district and possibly for others?
You know, we decided to do this, as you pointed out, in the wake of the Sandy Hook incident. And of course, those things are absolutely devastating. And it got to the point, really, that when that happened, the people in charge of the school district, the board members, just said, you know what, we just can't wait. We cannot wait for something to happen. We're not going to attend 20 funerals of our students if something were to happen here. So they decided to explore a number of different options. And arming the staff members was just one of them. And we do that, among other things. For instance, creating a police force that's dedicated to the school district. We've increased our physical security programs. We've really enhanced our exercise programs. And so this is just really a part of the whole plan that we have to keep our students safe here at Argyle, Texas.
I know you've heard the criticisms about this, what you're doing in your school district here. How are you vetting staff members? How are they being trained and prepared to carry guns in a classroom?
You know, that's a brilliant question. I appreciate the opportunity to explain that, because a lot of people hear, you know, that we're just handing out guns to teachers and that's it. And of course, that's going to scare people, which we understand. So as often as I get the chance to explain it to people, I think they have a clear idea. And so our process is fairly simple. You know, every one of our staff members that carries a weapon is a volunteer. We're never going to force somebody to do it that doesn't feel comfortable in that role. If they volunteer to do it, then of course our campus principal is going to give me the thumbs up or just thumbs down. They know better than I do who these people are. So if they're comfortable with that person carrying a weapon on campus, then I'll proceed to the next step. And the next step is a one-on-one interview with that person. And I'll sit down and I'll talk to that person and really get an idea of what their motivations are, what their backgrounds are with using weapons, really, and what their mindset is when they take on this role, and help them to understand really the seriousness of this role that they're taking on. Once they get through that phase of it, we'll set them up for a psychological evaluation. And it's really the same psych eval that a police officer would get going into a new department. So we can really see if there's any psychological, mental baggage or something in their background that we may want to consider before arming them. And so that's really how we go through that selection process. So if they pass that, then they move on to the formal training that we put them through, which is anywhere between 3 and 5 days of very intense weapons training. They're going to be shooting about 900 rounds of ammunition, which for anybody that's been through training like that, they'll tell you that's a lot of shooting. And so we take people, some of them that have very rudimentary skills, or some people that have excellent skills, but then get them to a much higher level of proficiency.
Chief.
And you know, it's not just, oh, okay, go ahead.
I was going to say, how do you respond to people who say, you know, there are a lot of options for protecting schools. This one just seems a little bit beyond the pale. To put a multiple guns presumably inside a school environment is just too dangerous a thing to attempt. You have a threat on the outside, but now you've actually got weapons inside the school building. How do you respond to people who have that concern?
You know, I appreciate that people that have concerns about that, and I've even had other law enforcement officials express that concern to me. And what I'll tell them is really this. You know, with the amount of training that we put them through, I am extremely comfortable with their ability to do their job. But the other thing that I'll tell them is that, you know, if you don't like doing what we're doing, that's absolutely fine. If you can come up with a better solution than what we're doing, please give it to us. We'll be more than willing to pay attention to it and listen to other solutions. But then what I also want to tell people when they criticize what we're doing is, you can criticize if you want, but the day of doing nothing is over. People can't wait any longer to secure their schools. They've got to take action now, whether it's something like we're doing, which is arming staff members, or something else, which maybe we haven't thought about. They've got to do something, and that's what we want to encourage people to do. Districts all across the country need to start doing something now.
All right, Chief Paul Cairney, the Argyle Independent School District there in Texas. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.